Okay, this is a brief one this morning. I just had to talk about this real quick because early this morning I saw a couple of posts from Dennis Spurling, and let me just read the post for you. So one of the posts says, "As ADOS FBA, we are American citizens." Anything? Okay, so in fact, there's more posts because this post I didn't even see until now. So this post says, "As ADOS FBA, we are American citizens. Anything we want from any African nation with the slave trade history, we can take it, and there is nothing they can do about it." Uh, yeah, like I said, I didn't even see that one. I just saw that one just now. In fact, let me just go straight to the post because this is. So then here's another one says, "You ADOS FBA romanticize these African nations, so you don't want to sue them. You want to be liked more than you want your money. A simple change in the law and litigation can commence. Stop acting like little broads and man up." Then the third one he wrote was, and this one I commented on immediately. So he said, "African nations inherited a debt from stealing us. Sick. European U.S. entities inherited a debt for selling us." And so it's got to be backwards. Um, it doesn't matter which defendant nation we as ADOS FBA get our reparations from first, everyone must pay. Okay, so my question was to that question, to that the statement, which African nation? Which African nation participated in the slave trade? Tell me, which African nation? Because if you're naming an African nation, you're naming an African nation that no longer exists. So if you want to talk about Ghana, Ghana became a nation in 1958, something like that. 1958. That was the first nation to gain its independence. And by the way, the African continent was carved up into nation states at the Berlin Conference. So this idea that somehow, hey, yeah, let's sue African nations. So you're going to sue. That's why I feel he's got to be that, like he's got to be tossing stuff out there just to spark conversation because he's a lawyer. He's got to know you can't sue an entity for something that happened before it existed. Like that just doesn't even make sense. So he's got to be like trolling. He's got to be like tossing something out there just to just spark some conversation. He's got to be like I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt and assuming that that's what he's doing. Uh, so that's that one. So let me go back to the other one where he says, "As ADOS FBA, we're American citizens. Anything we can take it." Okay, number one, this idea of we in America, like I don't know how many more times black folks in this country got to get our heads kicked in before we realize there's not really a we, not in terms of us and America. So you've got America and then you've got us. Like it's not the same entity. We can pretend it is, we can wish it was, but history, the present reality tells us something else. So can the United States of America go and take, they've got power, they can do that. That's not us. That's not what we can do. That's what the American government can do, and that's what the American government has been doing. And then he says, so the US UADOS FBA romanticize these African nations, so you don't want to sue them. You want to be liked more than you want your money. A simple change in law and litigation. Like once again, how can litigation commence against entities that didn't exist when these crimes were committed? But guess what entities did exist? United States of America existed, uh, the Great Britain, UK, and the royal family. Like that's some people keep forgetting about the royal family. Like the royal family still exists. So these are entities that actually could be held responsible. If we're talking about African nations that didn't exist when this happened, it makes no sense, not a lick of sense. But I think he knows that. I gotta assume he knows that. I gotta assume he's trolling, tossing stuff out there for some to spark conversation and some debate. Which hey, it's an interesting debate topic, and I'm interested to see what other people are saying because there's a lot of people jumping on the comments and like, oh yeah, we got to get our money, and I'm like, from whom? Like, what name an African nation? Ghana, Nigeria. These nations didn't exist. They didn't exist. Anybody like if a quick study of history will let you know these nations didn't exist. So what are we talking about? However, if we want to talk about holding United States accountable, yes, we can and should be talking about that. Should we be talking about litigation? I think so. That should be part of it. But like we've got to be focused. We've got to actually have a plan instead of just tossing stuff up in the air. Because I'm going to be breaking down something about the California reparations bill that a lot of people don't seem to have realized. But I'll be breaking that down a little later on. I'll probably do a video on it because I'm yeah, I'll probably do a video on it. But if you want to hold somebody responsible, like that's why it's even hard to say, oh, let's hold the United States of America responsible from 1619. Okay, well, the United States of America as an entity didn't exist until 1776. So like that's out the window. And so it's like if we're gonna do it, if we're gonna make arguments, we need to make sure our arguments make sense. And like I said, he's a lawyer. I gotta assume he's tossing something out there just for the sake of starting a debate, starting some conversation, because he knows about litigation. He knows that like you can't sue somebody, like you can't sue me for something that happened before I even existed. Just like what? So there's, I mean, unfortunately, there's a lot of people that seem to not understand these concepts. So I chimed in on one. I said, like, what nations? You know, somebody responded to me, said, exactly. These nations didn't even exist. But I'm curious to see what happens if from this. Maybe he's going to be doing a video on this. Hey, Josh Murren, welcome to the stream. Um, I'm guessing he'll be doing a video on this sometime, and this must be his, which is actually a pretty good strategy. Start the discussion early and then do a video later so that you've got an interest and you sparked an interest and he has a topic that now people want to talk about. And so if he does have this video come on, I'm definitely gonna like try to keep because I'm subscribed to him. So I'll see if I'm available when he does go live with this, or yeah, I'm assuming he'll go live with this at some point in the near future. And I'm definitely going to jump on to join the discussion if he's allowing panelists. But yeah, I just wanted to have this brief discussion, just go live just real quick in the morning. Because yeah, I've heard because he's not like he didn't invent this topic. I've seen people talking about this topic for like a week or two now, and I'm looking at it like it's a ridiculous topic. I'm thinking it's a ridiculous notion of holding African nations today responsible for stuff that happened before they actually existed. That just doesn't make any sense. And it's not even there's no legal precedent for it. There's no legal precedent or legal mechanism for it. So I like I said, I gotta assume he's well aware of this, but he wants to spark a discussion, and it's pretty good. I actually see what he as I'm talking about this, I'm like, okay, that's a pretty good way to do it because he's ginned up the interest in this topic. He's put these community posts up, and then when he goes live, there's going to be that much more attention on it. That's a really great strategy. I got to give him credit. Yeah, listen, Josh, I'm 1,000% with you. 1,000% with you. Because not only are they getting fleeced, they were actually. So if you look at a pattern of behavior, and if we're talking about the MAFA, we're talking about the MAFA. The MAFA didn't just happen in the United States. It didn't just happen in the Caribbean, in South America. It happened even in Africa. So like there was a whole a system of events, a criminal conspiracy basically, and they were also targets of it. So like to say like one entity that was a target of these crimes suing another entity that was a target of these crimes, a victim in these crimes, is like, yeah, that doesn't even make sense. But that's why I say we got to be talking about the MAFA and not just because people keep talking about, oh, slavery. It's bigger than slavery. The MAFA is bigger than slavery. Don't ever like the mafia is bigger than slavery, but people keep on focusing on just one aspect of it and ignoring so much more, ignoring Jim Crow, black codes, Black Wall Street massacres, how they used the redlining, just a massive system that every time black people, that to not only to subjugate black people, but once black people started making strides, started making progress, how this government, state governments, and various private entities conspired to strip black people and black communities of our wealth. It was a systematic hundreds long years of conspiracy. And that's the mafia, time and time again. So if we keep everything in perspective and realize what the mafia is, how the mafia extended long past slavery ended, we realize that, like, yeah, it's a criminal conspiracy. Like, y'all want to talk about Rico? That's Rico right there. That's Rico. The mafia is Rico. So that's, and I've been thinking about that for years. I like, because I've watched how they use this criminal conspiracy laws. I've watched dudes come in and out the feds and just boom. Okay, well, you had an I read that they used to tell slaves when they passed away they would still be slaves in heaven. Wow, that's just brutal. That's brutal. But like, yeah, I mean, like, so I've seen dudes catch RICO cases, catch conspiracy cases, and I'm like, wow, imagine if we applied those same legal principles to the United States government. Let's hit United States, Great Britain, the UK. Let's hit them with some RICO charges, because these are countries that for hundreds of years engaged in a criminal conspiracy against black people. That the mafia is a RICO case. So uh, that's all. I'm not going to be on here that long. Just wanted to touch on that, but I'm going to keep my eye open to see if he does a live later on, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, or any response. Like, because I think he's got several posts on this topic, so I got to assume he's going to be going live about this topic pretty soon. And I'm definitely gonna, if I'm available, I'm definitely gonna jump on that live, if he allows panelists to have that discussion. Because yeah, I'm ooh, yeah, we need to have that discussion, and we need to be moving forward with plans on how we're going to accomplish what we need to accomplish, and contingency plans, because we got to realize that there are going to be certain responses to any moves we make to get justice. So for we could get landlords on the same case. Powerful nations don't get called war criminals, even though USA president. Absolutely, Josh. Absolutely. Thanks everyone for just checking out this brief live. I'll be doing something later on today too. Yeah, I'll be going live later on today, but I got some stuff to do this morning. Got to run, because for those of you that know, I'm still suing the city. I filed some paperwork for a preliminary injunction. It still hasn't shown up on the docket sheet, so now I got to run up to the courthouse and see what's going on with this paperwork, because I want to make sure it's docketed. And so yeah, because I'm suing against the mandates, and I'll find out where that's headed. Government has a couple of weeks to respond to me, and then we'll see what happens with that. Thanks for checking out. Have a good day, everyone.